Hello, welcome everyone to episode 12 of Deconstructing the Construct. And continue to deconstruct, it does. We have kind of gone over briefly over the last couple of weeks the timelines kind of closing out. And 2013, 14, 15, 16 themes coming up again, just from these last few years. I had the weirdest deja vu experience a few days ago. I found myself on a conference call with about 60 people, and I swear 40 of them were part of my life back in 2013, 14, and they haven't been since. And it was very odd and unexpected. And we're seeing some weird stuff coming back up. For example, the Pope's moto, I can never pronounce this properly, the moto propori, whatever it is, that was released in, I think it was June of 2013, supposedly removing the protections around corporations, opening them up to liability. It seemed to be a natural progression in some respects to the OPT work that was done. And now that's coming back up again. And it's coming back up in such a way as if it's new for a lot of people, or, it never happened for a lot of people. That's interesting. We've got Heather Tucci making yourself known again, and the whole accessing value meme coming back up again. And again, there is a section of the community for whom this is all new for. We've got people who are also, for the first time for many of them, starting to regularly, hey Dado, awesome, regularly remembering their dreams. And they are, again, we're having a situation where there's a theme to them. Some know that they're participating in closing out timelines or cleaning up timelines before they're closed. The packing, the getting ready to move, the moving people around, the warehouse, all the things that we've talked about over the last few weeks with these, the best that we can come up with explanations or descriptives for what we think is going on energetically. Some interesting stuff has gone down, I can tell you that. What we think there was an experience where 3.5 years was decided upon, and this is by us, leading up to the end of 2012. I think, how do I put this? Leading up to the end of 2012, we realised that there was going to be a timeline, or at least a copy of a timeline, that was going to be a 4-year period. And if they got us through that 4-year period, the whole thing restarts. We get locked in again. There was a group of, I'll say us, as in humans, who came together and realised that in that 4-year period, we had 3.5 years of that 4 years to change it all. Because what seems to be happening now, and the question was, these decisions were made, these meetings were had out of time. So when does the 3.5 years start? I believe it started Christmas Day 2013. Something dramatic had to happen to mark the beginning of the period. And that is the most dramatic thing that I've experienced. Which brings us up to now. It actually brings us up to June, just gone. And the funny thing is, since we've been in July, the messages coming in have been about hurry up. It's time to hurry up. There's this, we're not running out of time, but it's time to really hurry up and get moving. That feeling's been coming in for a lot of people. You've got to get your job done now, right? And it's only been in the last week, 10 days, that started to kick in. Because I think we've done the 3.5 year period that we allocated for ourselves. The other thing is, for whatever reason, whatever's about to go down, I don't know, but the information coming in that's indicating August, some kind of shift in August, is coming in from all over. People feeling that they need to be somewhere by August, by the middle of August, that they need to get something done by the middle of August, that dreams of even giving them the date, giving them a date in August. We've got, I don't know, it's hard to explain when you get so many people sharing their dreams, their visions, their experiences, their, the conscious state, and it all starts to say the same thing. It's pretty intense, which is we are heading for some kind of massive shift in August. So I'm keen to hear from you guys. What's been going on for you? Are you getting the same kind of cues, dreams, anything that I've talked about so far in terms of a rehash of themes from 2013 onwards, or stuff pointing you towards August? You got anything? And sorry if you've already written something in the chat room, I haven't seen it.
Lisa, I'm really triggered with the Mayan time out of time on July 25th to August 7th, and then Lion's Gate. And on the 7th is a moon eclipse, and the 21st is a sun eclipse. So, of course, the first moon eclipse we can see over Australia. So I'm wondering if we need to do a get-together between your birthday and the 7th, 8th.
7th, 8th of August.
Between the whole thing, from July 25th onwards, for the whole, it feels like we need to stay put for that 2-week period because it's going to be intense. I'm wondering if it's a whole dark night of the soul vision quest for the whole world.
Yeah, well, the other thing that's coming up, there was a lot of people doing the whole prepper thing throughout 2012, that feeling of needing to be a little bit prepared, and then nothing happened. That is coming up again too. It's like, I need to be a little bit prepped. I need to have a little bit of a safety net because shit's just going to get really weird out there. That's coming up too. I wonder if that's around that period. But the people who are feeling that are also feeling August. So if we are, which I've got no other theory, this is it. If we are in fact closing out the copy that we created, the stuff that's coming up is coming up to be resolved in a cleaner, more positive way, or the way it should have gone the first time round. for better or worse, perhaps, if there is supposed to be some kind of chaos that was avoided the first time, maybe we have to experience that. What do you think about that, Deanna?
Definitely. Also, there's many of the crop circles this year that have been leading towards August 21st.
Oh, really?
Yes. The people who are assessing the crop circles find that. I've only seen them comment on the solar eclipse.
So when's the solar eclipse is on the 21st of August?
Right, and it goes through the middle of the states.
Okay.
I really feel like we need to do a gathering in between, I don't know, maybe even a hideout for a month and a half. Go rent a house in Australia or something.
Up at a mountain. Yeah. Well, you're welcome. Come on down. Yeah, it could be fun. A dream from the other night about packing up someone's abandoned house that was full of stuff. There was stuff I thought about keeping, but those with me reassured that all is needed to go and I could get what I needed some other way. We were in a rush to clean out the house and the belongings because there was an older woman that needed to remodel it. The old house was attached to a much larger, newer, fancier house with only a doorway between them. Nice, P. That's cool. That's cool. That's a great.
Lisa.
Yes, darling.
I had a dream where I was with a group of people and we were watching the TV. And what I got from what I was watching this program was a shiny new land is coming. Like a new land is coming, or new reality. Whichever way you want to take it is coming. Like something new. You know, like one of those, new fall TV show lineup things where they show you what's coming new for this season.
Yep.
Something like that.
Okay, I wasn't sure if I was going to share this or not, and I'm going to do it a little bit cryptically, and I apologize, but there's reasons for it. It is my understanding that on an energetic level, from the very top of the control system, things have been handed over, surrendered, right?
Mm-hmm.
Last Friday, I think, on the members' call, I asked the question, did anyone feel a shift in the last 24 hours around the financial system or around materialism or around, blockages when it came to material and abundance? And there was quite a few yeses, and we've had people who have been trying to sell their house for years and have had one block after another. Finally got a sale on Thursday. We've had people who have been trying to, and there's been a number of those actually, a shift in just breakthroughs and shifts in terms of the financial, material and abundance. And after that call, and I will go into more detail with the members tomorrow, but after that call on Friday, there was an experience where a lot of the systems that have been created to control all aspects, financial, legal, corporate, religious, were returned, as well as some of the...
Will someone get WD-40 for that door?
Sorry?
Will someone get WD-40 for that door over there?
Yes. Hey, Tinkerbell. Get on it.
Sorry to interrupt you, Rita.
As well as some of the relics that have been protected and hidden. So for me, there is a changing of the guard at the very, I don't want to say top because I'm using their pyramid structure, but from the top down. And I'm just interested to see how that's playing out, because it was immediately followed by, again, the Pope announcement, re-announcement, the accessing your value discussion, all of that has happened in the last few days since then. So I'm just keen to see how else that sort of starts to play out.
Lisa?
Yeah.
This is Gina. It's interesting because, like, on a personal level, what I'm feeling right now, as I've been, I was talking to Russ yesterday because I keep second guessing myself on what I'm taking, what I'm not taking. I've decided not to take any of my furniture at all, and I'm getting rid of everything. But when it came down to little things that I've collected over the years or I've had for years, letting go of things that maybe had some kind of emotional attachment or guilt associated, kind of like breaking those contracts again. And what I realized when I was talking to Russ yesterday, that this is my opportunity. I'm starting my life from this point on. This is my opportunity to move into it just bare and light with as little as possible, and start and be exactly who I am, and not who all these projections that have been put on me my whole life and I've accepted. I'm just going from the very, very core of myself and getting rid of things that I've been holding on to forever for absolutely no reason, carrying around, paying to have moved, all of that. And I'm just letting it all go, and it feels amazing. But I know what I'm doing is I'm manifesting my reality right now. Like, I know that I'm starting this new life, and I'm deciding right now what that life is going to be and how it's going to play out for me. And so there does need to be, it seems, needs to be some physical movement in that manifestation to have these things come about. But it certainly feels marvelous and unlike anything else I've ever experienced. So I wanted to share that because I see that in alignment with what you're talking about of things opening up and all this. And in August, definitely, I've known kind of all through this process that it needed to be completed by August. So, and it will. So anyway, that's it.
Gina, you are so lucky to be moving and starting over like a new baby. No stuff.
That's what it feels like, Tom.
2 suitcases and a cat. See you later.
Yep. It's really quite marvelous.
Wait till you get there.
Oh, I know. I'm so excited. So very excited. We talked for hours today, Shar and I.
I told Shar to take a picture of you, 1 at the airport, 2 on the drive up to her house, and post it out for everybody to see.
Yes. The look of pure bliss. Absolutely. Thank you, Tom.
Exactly.
We need to get you on the move next, Tom. There's been a lot of comments in the chat room about the letting go, releasing the load, lightening the load, not wanting to waste money on material rubbish. That's been going on for a lot of people since 2012. I lived in a suitcase too for a couple of years, and it was very, very liberating. And you really do realize just how much you don't need. Oh, what else was I going to say? That was leading me onto something. What's going on? Okay. There's been a lot of healing and cleaning up going on. Excuse me for a moment. I do apologise.
Gina, when do you get to North Carolina?
The 25th, I fly out in the morning, and we'll be there in the late afternoon, I think, early evening.
Of August?
No, July.
July? Oh, wow.
She's traveling on my birthday.
Okay. Well, that's significant, I guess.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
She's traveling on the day out of time.
Oh, yes, yes. Speaking of all that, there's a garage sale happening at my place on the 5th of August, and I just now, because of you, Gina, said, I'm getting rid of all my shit, too.
Good for you. It's a great feeling.
Oh, I've done it several times, and way back in the way back days, and when I just had my Volkswagen, anything I could fit in it is what I took. But now it's anything I can carry.
As long as you got a samurai sword on your back.
Or in my pocket.
Oh shit! What was I going to talk about? There was something. Was it the where? Okay. The other thing that's coming. Well, I don't think this is it, but this is something else. The other thing is healings and what we're calling surgeries, because that's exactly what they are. They're like energetic surgeries. There are those who are among you who are surgeons in this situation, and you've all been very, 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 very busy. When you might be waking up realizing you've just been working all night, there is a great deal of healing and cleansing going on. There is what we're calling the warehouse, which seems to be this holding space, and some of you are dreaming of it too. It's like it either looks like a warehouse, or it looks like a airplane hangar, or it looks like a train station or a bus depot or something like that, where you're waiting for the next thing to take you somewhere. That's a common dream right now too, and everyone seems to be gathering there. There may be at this stage multiple of these spaces, because the one that I just landed in, it's pretty full, but it's certainly not, the 11% of humanity or whatever. It's not that many. There's been interesting things coming in terms of confirmations around that too. I think even Yellow Rose for Texas put up something about surgeries. But there are some fine surgeons among you who are doing some really good cleanup work. Yes, you're in the warehouse every night. And for those of you who are not sure or don't know what I'm talking about, just feel into the energetic space that you're in. Does it feel empty? Does it feel full? Does it feel... Try and get a feel for a sense of space, colour, anything that you can come up with, and try and get an idea of where you're at. You've always got people there. Okay. Yours is full too. Yeah, full for sure. When I landed in here the other day, honestly, it felt like a Japanese train with everybody squished in. It was like getting a little bit claustrophobic. Sorry, this chat room's going crazy. It's like a large hangar-like space. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Empty and trapped. Okay, yeah, Susanna, I got you on the list.
I've been feeling like I'm waiting, but I'll be okay. You know, I get this. I'll be okay. Whatever it is that we're going through, I'll come out on the other end just fine. Feeling.
I think so. I mean, we had a conscious experience by someone who knows nothing about the pink, or uses amber.
Oh my God, Lisa.
Yeah.
I was on Facebook. I was scrolling down to, look down, and the CBC had this post on Facebook where there was this storm that was going on, and the clouds were red and pink, and there was like pink lightning. Like, it was freaking amazing.
Yeah, I've seen that too lately for the first time in my life, pink lightning.
No, I've seen pink lightning before, but I've never seen like candy cotton working like pink and red clouds like in the storm before. I've seen green clouds and green sky for a tornado, but never like what I've seen. So yeah.
Well, like I said, we had a conscious waking experience from someone who doesn't understand, know what we talk about or the language we use, and talked about there is this pink overlay coming in, and that will overlay by August 23rd. And he didn't understand what he was saying. Didn't know what he was talking about. He said, I don't know how else to describe it except it's pink and it's code, and it kind of overlays over this code, the old code, and it reaches like a critical mass on August 23. And he had no idea what he was talking about. He knows to send messages through whenever he gets them. So just leave it up to him. So that's the day after the solar eclipse. Right. I mean, if what we call Shah experiences, I love you, Shah, are you here? Yes. If what we call Shah experiences start happening for more and more people, where there's these overlays, and you're seeing two realities at once, or start experiencing what more people are experiencing right now, which is distinct memories of different circumstances for the same thing. For example, I got up and locked the door, and I remember getting up and locking the door. I also remember not locking the door. Or I distinctly remember not locking the door, but apparently I did lock the door because the person couldn't get in. Two completely different sets of memories for the same time, for the same event, that kind of thing. Or even more, 3 or 4. So if that starts happening to people without a context for this, if the overlays start happening for people without a context for this, that alone I can see would cause some chaos out there. We already know that hospitals have been inundated with people with suspected heart attacks, right? That we feel are heart expansions because they get released, nothing's wrong, they can't find anything wrong with them. But if this sort of thing happens, we could find mental health units just overworked, because we all have talked about those, what do we call them? Our dementia moments, which are very disconcerting. there's also where, and this is part of the timelines collapsing as far as I'm concerned, and the integration happening, where you can be looking at someone or thinking about someone and you just can't remember their name. Someone you've known your entire life even. Or it doesn't, your memories around who they are vague until it settles in. It's, oh, yeah, that's right, I know who you are. To have a context for these things is obviously very, very helpful and reassuring, but if you don't, it's scary. It's really scary. So if that starts happening more and more to people, I can see chaos. People want to understand what's going on. So it could get a little bit scary out there. Right now there is a vacuum cleaner on next door, so you might be hearing that. Unfortunately, sorry, can't do anything about that one.
I was kind of enjoying the haunted house meme today.
Say that again?
So I was kind of enjoying the haunted house meme today, the squeaky doors and the weird little ominous whoo in the background. And
I need to get Tinkerbell to fix that.
We need WD-40 or grease or oil.
John said it's like a haunted house. The hum in the background and the door creaking. And maybe I should, get some fake cobwebs to go around the edges. The Addams Family, yeah, that's pretty perfect.
Yeah, that's us. We do have the cobwebs behind you.
I do have a kind of cobwebby thing going on here. Pink paisley cobwebs. Okay, what else did we want to try and share this? Because there's so much going on, it's not funny. You're doing surgery. What else have you had? You had the hurry up.
I've had the hurry up and cleaning out some, cell groups. Still doing yucky things.
Uh-huh. You've had the everyone's in the warehouse.
I'm in quarantine.
You're in quarantine.
I'm in a jail cell. I have no idea.
I don't know, there's something I'm forgetting. There's some big piece I'm forgetting that's gone down. And I can't remember what it is now. So typically I'm having a dementia moment. I feel like what we're getting though from a lot of these different places is confirmation, a lot of confirmation that we are in fact closing out these timelines. It is a copy to me. I have a feeling that those, who shall not be named, kind of created their own copy as a trap, and we kind of copied their copy. It's getting even more convoluted. And I'm not entirely sure until recently they knew where they were. But the return of relics, control systems, there are and have been traps everywhere, and we were warned about that. But I think we've also sorted a lot of those out. There's no way of knowing at this point other than just listening to our own guts, following our intuition, taking notice of our dreams, taking notice of our conscious experiences as to what is around the corner. And we don't seem to get much of a heads up. It's just, and I think that's on purpose. We're not giving ourselves a game plan on purpose. What's Tom had to say? It's cracking everybody up. In any timeline. There's also...
Oh, no one's dying over there. Yes.
There's some clearing going on, I'll say that. The other thing is that I'm seeing come up a lot is obviously there's so much talk now about you're in a hologram, you're in a synthetic game, you're in a construct. I mean, that's everywhere now. But a lot of it's got that twist on it still, which to me is a twist on what the New Age was trying to do too. About 5D. There's still a lot of talk about 5D and getting to 5D and staying in 5D. People that we've done healings and clearings on, who are, I would say, in the new cage movement, literally have an energetic cage around them that has to be removed. There is so much more beyond 5D. It's not funny. 5D is still part of the construct. So is 6. So is 7. So is 8. So is 9. It's all still, up to, so is 12. It's all still part of the construct. But if they can get you locked into 5, so you don't go beyond that. That was the goal, I think, for the new age movement. And I'm seeing a resurgence of that, but with this whole construct language twist to it. There are so many, frequency fences beyond that to move through. And there's a lot of truth. There has to be a lot of truth in what's being shared. Otherwise, you just wouldn't buy it. It just wouldn't connect with your heart at all. But there's just that little tweak at the end, which is the deception. But when we're seeing these energetic cages around people, it's really interesting. Is that adding to the haunted house feel? No, that's going to fall. Oh my God. Okay. I was waiting for a very loud bang. Yes, they need to be removed. And you can do them yourself. If you can see them or feel them. Some of them are just around people's heads. Some of them are around their torso, some both. But if you feel like you got that far and you're stuck, it could be why. Because they do hold you there. That is their purpose. But they're easily removed. And if you're not somebody who can see or feel these things, find somebody who can, and just to help you remove them. What else are we finding energetically on people?
Mainly those cages.
Mainly the cages?
Mainly that's it at the moment. And just releasing some of the old emotional ones that have come in.
Oh, okay. This was the big one to talk about. What we're finding is that anything that is not resonant with the frequency of what we're calling home or the new construct needs to be released. Okay, so this is playing out in two main themes that I'm seeing: relationships and freedom. To me, home is freedom, and it's freedom in the way that we have never, ever, ever in our conscious memory experienced whilst in this construct. We don't know what it is to be free. We don't know what it is to be free in every aspect of our being. So those things that limit you, those things that create a sense of burden, slavery, indentured servitude, a lack of abundance, limitation, all of that is what's coming up to be clear, because I think enough people need to fully embody and experience what it is to feel like to be free, for there to be a 100th monkey effect, to get us as a collective resonant with this new frequency, which may be why all of this stuff is coming back up again from 2013. Why the financial, why the accessing your value, why the Pope's announcement, all of these things coming back up again, because they were supposed to, back then, give us that sense of freedom, and they didn't. The other thing is in relationship, as in romantic couples. Anything that is not resonant with what a true relationship between a couple should be, because it's been so distorted. It's been distorted by distorting us as individuals in our masculine and feminine. It's been distorted through expectations, through the degradation and the manipulation and the twisting of our sexuality. It's been manipulated and distorted so badly about what's accepted and what's not, what's normal and what's not, the role that porn's played, for example, in distorting how we see each other or value each other or respect one another. All of these things seem to be coming up to be looked at and released, because it's not congruent with, I don't want to use these words like divine and sacred and all that shit for relationships, because those words have been so badly distorted. Even twin flames, that's all kind of been distorted. But you're getting my drift. Stupid word eggs. Yes, words. So anything that doesn't resonate with this new construct, with this new frequency, with home, with who we truly are, is coming up to get sorted. And it has been volatile and painful and dramatic and all of that. Yeah, nobody in this house knows what I'm talking about. But if you can approach that, if this stuff is coming up and you can approach it from that perspective that, okay, we need to look at things that need to be released around this, you can get through it. I'd hate to see too many relationships fall apart because people are taking it personally, in a way, too personally. This is about you and me, and it might not be. It might be that you're acting as a clearinghouse for certain things on behalf of the whole. All right? Those of you who do believe you're with your twin flame or your other half, you will probably be going through this the hardest, because I have a feeling that's your job. That's why you came together. One of the reasons, anyway, is to do this job on behalf of. Did you want something to say?
Yeah, just have something to add. Just a key point. I think a key point to add to that is that in these moments of explosiveness or heated exchanges or anything coming up to the surface that needs to be cleared, I think it is really important to note that you'll always feel like in those moments that it is your own, because if you never did, you'd never be able to truly clear it. If something came up and you didn't quite have that outburst or whatever, and you just go, oh, this is something to be cleared, I don't think it would truly be cleared unless you believed it was, you know, your own stuff, and you did really have the argument or whatever the outcome would be. I just think that's a key point to make, that
To go
to truly clear
really
it.
to the depths
Yeah.
of it.
You have to believe it's yours, but then once you have that outburst, then you can sit back and go, okay, well, where did this come from? What happens now? Thank you for your time. That's all I have to say about that.
Why is it going to be harder with your twin flame? Because I think those are like, oh, this is just my theory, and I may well get more or contrary. But one, because you're strong enough, because your connection is that strong that not being together is unthinkable. So no matter how big and explosive and painful, and at the end of it, there's no walking away from each other. So you'll come back and do it all over again. Yes.
I was going to explain about what Jake saw about the love energy and the circuits being realigned.
Oh, yeah, we'll come.
Okay, so my brother, who, if those of you who follow the Lily chats, is Alex, and I'm Jefferson, and back home we work together. Here we're brothers. So he sees a lot of the code stuff, a lot of the real technical stuff, and one of the things he saw a couple of weeks ago was around the love energy, is that what they did to it is treat it like a circuit board, this love energy like a circuit board. They unplugged every wire and put it in different sockets. So everything that we're coming up to clear could be on any sort of subject. It's like a single circuit, a single wire on the circuit, and when we come up to clear it, we're unplugging it and then putting it back where it's meant to be. So we're in the process of realigning all the circuits on the love energy. I'm sure it's on many different energies as well. I just wanted to give people a visual.
Yeah, I need extra seats. Does he mean things change? There's a couple of questions coming in around it. It was distorted. The love vibration, the love frequency itself was distorted. Does anyone have a question for Aaron around this? No, I think it's okay. How do we fix it? We are fixing it. No, this is how we're fixing it.
Yeah.
By being present, not running.
By not running away. Yeah. By having these moments with each other, even if they are volatile and explosive, and working through it. Things that have been either okay or tolerated within the relationship are coming up. Things that society tells you it's okay for him to behave that way or for her to behave that way. That's what's expected when it's not. Confronting it, clearing it, working through it. That's how we're reconnecting it. That's how we're fixing it. Does that make sense? Okay, good. And this, so far, like I've said, so far, I've seen it in personal relationships and around the whole freedom thing. But it's going to show up in other areas. It just hasn't for me yet. That's just what I've seen. But the freedom one feels big. So I do expect more memes to come up around freedom. Obviously, law and banking are the two big ones. They're the biggest oppressive systems that we live in. So I do expect to see more stuff coming up around legal and banking. But anything that's not resonant with this new reality we're creating needs to be cleared out. And enough people really need to know what it feels like. They need to embody it. It needs to be, and even then it won't be close. So I don't think to what it can be really like, but and it's starting to happen. I'm seeing it. Just a few people here and there. We need to what?
I just find this hilarious. The one thing I can come through is laws and regulations for reptiles.
There is a conversation happening downstairs. And can you come here and say, I didn't hear it because I was talking. So what did he say?
The only thing that came through real loud was there's a whole bunch of new laws and regulations for reptiles.
A whole bunch of new laws and regulations for reptiles is the conversation that's being had downstairs. That's funny. It's a pet store. So they would be talking about
but I find the timing
yeah, absolutely
non-coincidental.
That's too funny. Snakes again, yeah. Well, because it is legal to own snakes here, but there is quite a bit of regulation around what kind and how many and in what environment.
I'm sure. I have no doubt. All that makes 3D logical sense. But the only thing we could hear come through, beaming through so loud and clear would be that at the time you say, too much.
It's just a coincidence. Just a perfectly timed and rather humorous one. No eating humans on Sundays.
Yeah, when you said reptile, I was almost going to say, what? Laws for reptilians? What? New laws for them? Okay. Just I mean.
Oh, that's too funny. Did you fix the door?
I did.
Look at that. No more haunted house. Oh, spill my coffee.
At least it wasn't me this time.
Okay. Is there anything else? Because I think I'm done. Okay.
Everything's happening.
Everything's happening. It's all happening.
Popcorn.
It's not going to stop happening. It's just going to get faster and more intense. And something's coming in August. So that's it. So I want to open it up to you guys. Hands up if you've got something you want to share or add to. But I don't think we're going to get a rest from here on in. Not that we've had one for months anyway, but the feeling of hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, get on with it, is getting more and more intense. So
Lisa in the chat Dee first says she saw a bumper sticker on the back of the car that says reptiles lives matter.
okay, here's another thing to add. For those of you who were aware of Heather Tucci back in 2013, you'll know there was a lot of talk around compassion, forgiveness, acceptance, that for them. And I've heard it again recently. What I think is that they think their fate is in our hands, but it's not. It's being taken care of. In other ways, I don't know how to say that even. They think that our forgiving them will make a difference to what happens to them, and I don't think that's. Yes, I believe so, Joy. Huh?
You can tell about Stone's Throw.
Well, you tell them. I haven't seen it. You've seen it.
Okay, so me and Jake on separate occasions have seen what.
Can you guys hear her? Firstly. Yeah. Okay.
What looks to be like a judgment room, and there's a stone slab there that the person stands on, or being, or whatever. And the dragons activate it with their energy. They say nothing, and then this person gets their codes read, everything they've done, whatever they've gone, and then depends on that, their own choices. It reads it, and it will either just instantly turn them to dust, return them to source, or they have some really horrific endings on the way out. But nobody is in a place where they decide what happens to them. Their own codes and their own choices make that decision and judgment for them. So all this begging, all this pleading for mercy and, oh, we'll be okay, it's not going to work because no one's in charge of that decision-making process.
But we're hearing the plea again for compassion. Which I think is interesting. And we've got a couple of hands up. So, John, on your phone, you're unmuted.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, darling. How are you?
Good. There were obviously, as usual, so many things that were parallels. And I've been having really, really intense dreams the last couple of weeks that, I don't know, for the longest time I just wasn't able to digest them and even figure out what the hell was going on. But last night before I went to sleep, as soon as I laid down and closed my eyes, I could feel the dream coming in and just see it almost in just like light up against, the darkness that I would see with my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that it looked was almost like when you take an image and you mirror it and you create like a kaleidoscope kind of pattern and you project it out, that but happening in reverse. So it was like, the crazy Mandela pattern, but then collapsing into the image that it was shattered out of. And it just kept happening and happening and happening. And then I went into the dream realm and slept for a solid 12 hours and, the usual thing. But what I realized when I woke up was that a lot of it was happening in reverse. It was happening forwards as well. It was quantified. It was happening in so many different directions, but it was the same kind of thing of things playing out in reverse and all kind of collapsing in and healing itself in its own kind of way. But it reminded me of Jenny's dream of everything kind of exploding and then coming back together. Like, I felt as though we've already exploded a while ago and we're in the coming back together part. And that's what it really, really felt like last night. And one thing that really popped out from the dream was there was this one guy that I had encountered that was freaking out because he couldn't take his things with him, like his stuff, his personal belongings. And I was just laughing because I just couldn't understand what he was talking about. Because I'm like, what do you not get? It's not real. Like, none of your, it's not even your stuff. Like, what are you talking about that you're waiting for your stuff? I'm like, it's going to be there. Come on, girl. Like, the bus is coming. Like, so that feeling of like impatience, but almost like frustration because I just couldn't empathize with what they couldn't see, which obviously, you know, is a parallel to us here in the real world. Like, oh, how do people not see this shit? And blah, 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 blah. But at a different level. But what it kind of seems like is that as things kind of come together, you know, we're all waiting for some like sort of like final event to happen that's really concrete and obvious, but it could just be a perspective shift where people just kind of start to lose interest with those lower level vibrational things, and like you said, they just don't resonate with it anymore, and because they're no longer resonating with it, they have no interest in it, they're not empowering it. That invalidation is just going to weaken the system. But if beings like us consciously invalidate it and consciously send it that energy that it's, you know, you are nothing, little girl, like, you know, let it know exactly what it is, that's going to kind of exponentially speed up the process, because like you said, things are speeding up right now. And at the same time that you said we were moving into April, like a couple days before, I was just driving down the street and the voice in my head said, April Fools, girl. And I just laughed because I was like, well, what does that mean? And then 2 days later, you're like, I feel like we're in April now, we're doing this. So I'm like, okay. But I don't think we're moving in 3-month stretches. It's like March was 3 months, April might be a month, probably not. And then the next one's going to be a week, and then a day, and then a minute, and then 3 minutes, 10 seconds to whatever. So
thank you for confirmation on that one.
Yeah, no, because time is definitely moving exponentially at this point. Time is gone completely. I mean, we were saying it was gone before, but it's really, really gone now. And what was it? June 22nd for me was like 3 days long. I was in that day for 3 days. I think some sort of doing was going on where some people got sent forward, some went back, some kind of spun. I was one that spun. So that was a little weird. But since then, it's like as soon as you move on from the now moment, what happened before, it could have been a year ago, a day ago, a month. Like it's just, what did I do before? I don't even know.
It's just before.
And it's just before. And this feeling of just kind of losing attachment with things that are in the past, that it's just, even if you do have the memory, there's not a strong emotional connection there. And what was something that just had happened? Well, there was a friend that came back from 2013, of course, because everything is coming back from 2013, but just a group of friends that I had not gotten in contact with in a while. And every story he was trying to tell me, I couldn't remember any of it. Not a single one. He would show me faces, and it's like, I wasn't there for. He's like, no, I know you were there. I know you were there for all. Nope, maybe I was there, but this me was not there for any of that. So unfortunately, sorry about it. But I think everybody is where they need to be. Like that whole sense of rush is happening on that ethereal level for them, but for us here in this realm, it's not. We're where we're supposed to be. Like, obviously we need to work on our things and keep on moving, but we're not the ones who are so worried about rushing everybody else, because it's everybody else that kind of needs to get rushing, but we ourselves we're doing what we need to be. That's just how I feel about it, but I could be wrong.
Thank you. No.
Thank you.
Bye. The April thing, I mean, it took, like you say, March went for like 3 or 4 months, and then I'm already halfway through April, which has happened quite quickly. It feels like the 20s, 21, 22 of April is how it feels. And that's happened really quickly. So it's hard to explain when you're energetically in one time and physically in another time, and also sensing timelines closing, and you're in this warehouse space. There's a lot going on all at once. But thank you for that. That was brilliant. I loved it. JJ.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Excellent. 3 things. we talked earlier about freedom. To me, there's three related concepts: freedom, responsibility, and sovereignty. And we're not used to any of those in their truest sense. I mean, um, we're going to have to relearn or remember all of that. And that's probably going to have to be a gradual process, because we've been so programmed not to, or to have false or what do you want to call it? Not invalid, but distorted and fucked up visions and versions of them, and people hold on to them and they hold it as being truth, and it's simply not. But I think that's a good portion of the relearning, is basically what and who we are, and centered around those three concepts of freedom, responsibility, and sovereignty. And when that clicks, it kind of goes, oh yeah, I guess I am responsible for everything I do and everything I experience, and all the people in it and all that kind of stuff. And you got to take responsibility for your participation, whether you feel it's right or not. You're there, so deal with it, kind of a deal.
You just added another word to my list, which is safety.
Yeah. That's the lack of fear.
Safe with each other, with our environment. Especially in Australia, everything's out to kill you.
Yeah, that's what I hear. And the other thing is that the lack of fear, which I think is strongly related to safety, and because fear has been so impacted and imprinted and maintained and pushed and from every possible angle for our entire lives and generations before. So it's indelibly imprinted in, I'd say, all of us, which gets me to the next topic, which is basically compassion for them. They are so programmed. They are, if we're programmed, they're programmed to the nth degree. I mean, from birth, literally from birth, they have been subject to programming like most of us don't even want to think about going there, let alone face it. Now, I'm not saying that is justification, although to a certain extent. I mean, if you have literally from birth have no choice, you are forced into certain things based on just because the fact you were born in certain bloodlines or whatever. Compassion seems to be sort of inadequate to cover the fact. I mean, any of us, in fact, I would even say all of us have been in that situation and have that as part of our personality matrix. Whether we recall it or not, that's something else again. But the idea is that if you, like the Jesuits say, you get someone young enough, you can make them be anything you want. And they are experts. I mean, they've been doing it for generations. They know exactly.
Can I ask you a question though?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Are you talking about heart-sourced human beings, or are you talking about something else? Because there are, I believe, heart-sourced human beings who, as you say, have been so programmed from birth that they get to a point where they make a conscious choice. And it seems like a conscious choice based on programming, fair enough. But they end up so infected, so black, that the only act of compassion is to allow them to go back to source. That in itself is an act of compassion.
I'd agree. I mean, it's like what Heather basically said. The system is so fucked up, there is no saving it. It's just just basically so convoluted that it would be better to reset or restart it rather than try to unconvolute it. And some of those in the upper echelons of the power structure of this planet are so they've been trapped. I mean, literally trapped, and for their entire lives, and they don't know any other way. And they've been so programmed that they only see one way forward, and that's what they've been programmed with. And so whether that's a heart source being or a bot or whomever, I can only guess. I mean, I'm making most of this stuff on assumptions and looking at bits and pieces here and there and stuff. So I can't really say I know, but I can reach into myself and I can say, I can see a portion of some of them in me. I can empathize with being so, not just controlled, it's beyond controlled. It's more fundamentally controlled. Being so manipulated, so steered that you have no choice. I mean, you just don't. It's not even in your lexicon, kind of a deal. It's not on the radar.
But again, you have to go back to who and what are you referring to? Are you referring to the Dracos? Are you referring to heart source beings? What are you referring to?
Could be all of them. Could be any of them. Could be just subsets. I don't know. But I'm specifically aiming it at humans or us humans down here on this planet that have been so manipulated and so controlled. And some of them, like I say, from birth. And actually, they probably got systems pre-birth. In other words, at conception forward. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if they haven't got manipulative systems in place to screw with people before they're even born. And there is no way out of that as far as I can tell. I mean, I don't know it all, so maybe there is. But any one of us, heart source being, bot, reptilian, hybrid, whatever, if you are and have been that manipulated, I guess is a word to use, I don't see an easy way out. And certainly not if you don't even see it as an option in your on your radar at all. So
I think Donna has something to say. Do you want to? And then so does a few others, I think. Hang on.
Yeah. So
hang on, Earl. Hang on, Earl. 1 second.
I absolutely agree with you when it comes to heart source beings. Programmed, manipulated, lied to, and covered up. But in order to become a full reptile, awareness of a reptile, Draco, or be in a position of power, they are given full knowledge of what they're doing. They make a choice. The ones who choose not to get rejected, they don't become the elite. So there is, in my opinion, they are the ones that do know, and they perpetuate exactly what they're doing to the heart source beings, lying, manipulating, and they do it with knowledge. They are not manipulated. They are well aware of what's going on, and they made a choice. The ones that you're talking about, the humans, the rejects, the bots, yeah, they're all programmed. They're all manipulated. Not the reptiles in power, and not the Draco. They know exactly what they chose to do and continue to perpetuate it, knowing it. So they're not programmed.
That's entirely possible. I mean, to me, programming is like, I use the word imprinting. Hang on, here comes a siren. We got cops racing up and down the street for some reason. Imprinting is, especially if it's from birth or in maybe some cases pre-birth. If you can imprint a being with a limited or a partial set of this is reality, and they know no other, and they're carefully raised or whatever that way, that is their reality. They don't know any other. They are going to behave according to their imprinting, according to their programming. That's all they know. That's all they can know. Now, I'm not saying that they don't see what they're doing, because obviously some of these folks are extremely intelligent, and they can see it, but at the same time they're going to filter all of their actions through their imprinting, through their programming. I don't have an answer as to whether it's a conscious choice that they know or not, and then you take the sidestep and go up to their higher self. Is it basically maintaining this duality, or this set of imprinting just to gain those experiences? I mean, how high do we want to go? How far down deep into this rabbit hole do we want to take it? I don't know.
Hang on, can I just say something?
Mm-hmm.
To a degree, the whole conversation is a bit of a moot point, because I don't think it matters. It's not. I don't think it's up to us anyway. This whole judgment or compassion question. But if it's important to you as an individual, then I would kind of suggest that perhaps there's something about compassion for self that you're really wanting to look at. That compassion as an issue is probably it. And you may be looking at them as an opportunity to express compassion, but it might actually be about self. I don't know.
I agree. And the thing is compassion, much like forgiveness, I think has to originate from within. If you can start from there, going externally, going without is much easier. But to me, this is not really a big deal. I mean, it is going to be for them, and I think what most of them are afraid of, especially the human types down here, is that there are so many of us and so few of them that they're afraid we're just going to rip them from head to toe. So the fear factor is like, well, it's part of their being, it's part of their programming. That's why they do everything that they do is based on fear. So that's just part of it to me. Anyway, enough of that for that one. The last one is, there's a guy, I think he's from Oz, by the name of Brendan, I'm not sure, D. Murphy.
Yep.
He wrote a book, something about grand illusion, something like that.
Yeah.
I think he's from home. He has knowledge beyond his years. He has the ability to grasp very complex topics and subjects and present them in easily digestible ways. And he's grabbing a huge range of topics, a huge range of issues and bits and pieces, and tying them together very neatly, very nicely, and very thought-provokingly, enough to where I'm going to be getting his book. It's apparently out of print right now, but most of the reviews and say like, "Oh my fucking God, this blows my mind." ... So I'm going to be investigating that. But he's got a remarkable viewpoint of life. That's it.
Thank you. And yeah,
Thank you.
He's a lovely guy. The forgiveness and compassion thing. Violet wrote, I'm just going to find it again because it keeps disappearing on me. Forgiveness and compassion are construct programs. One of the things that's been coming up, and again, came up in 2013, is that the proverbial they have been waiting for us to step into our power and be worthy of our own freedom. This arrogant, incredibly arrogant, we're only fucking you because you're letting us, because you're not standing in your own power, because you don't know who you are. Even though we've manipulated every aspect of your being and your experience so that you have no fucking idea who you are. If you can break through everything that we've done to you and everything that we've manipulated, and you can stand in your power, then you are worthy of being equal to us. it makes me want to vomit or hit somebody. That came up again as well on that call that I was on. They are proudly, interestingly, watching what you do to see if you're worthy of your own sovereign state of being. What a crock of shit. Sorry.
To me, that's just their own programming.
They believe that shit.
Oh, yeah. Thoroughly. Thoroughly.
Oh, so they're cool. But we've still got a couple of hands up. So, Karen, you're up.
Can I just say something about that before you move on, Lisa?
Yes, Rand, hi.
So I just kind of wanted to come from where JJ is coming from as well. I don't think it's about either forgiveness or compassion, but the danger there also is if you are trying to exit while you're holding on to this anger or frustration, or you're scratching and clawing your way out. I think that's one of the dangers too. So it's neither condemning nor condoning, and just moving past all the bullshit.
It's
and even
itself.
Right.
Yeah. Because it's not resonant with where we're going. So those feelings have to come up and out for you, not whether or not they are saved or condemned. It's for you.
Exactly. And as long as we personally are not either holding on to anger or we're not falling for the compassion, I'm going to heal you and save the world kind of thing, all that is construct, all that is programming. So we have to be clean either way, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Thank you. Okay, Karen.
Yeah, I just wanted to maybe make a few comments on JJ's understanding or views on them and the programming from birth, before birth, etc. Yes, that does happen. Understand personal experience here. However, somewhere along that way, there is a conscious choice that's made, and the pros and cons to making that choice are weighed. And those that stay in or don't balk or whatever, that go along with the programming, do so for various reasons: self-preservation, money, status, power, all based on fear. Heart source beings, from my perspective, go through that choice point, and they may be several choice points. You know, okay, I can go along with this, but then comes the next step, and there are several choice points a lot of times. And once that final choice is made, there's something that happens on a soul, spirit level, whatever, that kind of, I think, seals them in at that point. Because I know people that, rather than go along, have killed themselves. There is that option. There's always that option. And everybody that's been through any of this shit knows that that's always an option. And a lot of people try to choose to use what they have, artists, musicians, whatever they have, whatever venue they've been stuck in, to try and get the word out without killing themselves. And then they end up getting killed when they get too close to the truth. So I really just want people to understand that compassion is a program, fear is a program, anger, rage is a program, on some level. And when I went through that, I have compassion for the other victims and I have rage towards the abusers. But when it came right down to it, that compassion that I was feeling for those other victims was actually being triggered in my own heart to have compassion for myself and heal it. So I really think we need to get back to our own hearts. And if you're feeling the need to have compassion or forgiveness, you're not going to really get to the source of a clear, unclouded perspective until you can give yourself that compassion and forgiveness, and then maybe see more clearly. Anyway, that's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you. You were one of the people I was thinking of during this conversation. Okay, a conversation is kind of coming up in the chat room around whether or not the Dracos and the reptilians are just part of the construct, whether they're just programs in themselves, or whether or not they exist outside of the construct. It's my knowing that they exist outside the construct. They are not just programs within it. But I can, if anyone else want to put their hand up on that one or say otherwise? Yes, they're outside too. Do they behave like this out there? Yes. If it ain't, oh, I missed that bit. Yeah, you want to say something?
I do want to say something. I know that people have an imagery of outside the construct, everything's perfect, everything's just wonderful. And that is not my memory. It's not my son's memories. It's not so many people I've spoken to. This is the reason why the playground, the place that's here that we made, that is a hologram, was made. A place to play, a place that was safe, a place that we didn't have to worry about as many rules and regulations and what was evolved and what was not. There were highly evolved beings out there filled with the most amazing love you can imagine, and you had lowly evolved ones. This place was made. They didn't like that. They did not like that they couldn't be play in here, that they couldn't control it. That's one of the reasons they cooperated with part of the 12 to come in here and to take over. The virus itself is a program. There is a virus that's separate to these beings that they ran, that they injected into the construct. But why would we play? Why would we make a heaven? Why would we make a place if it was already just perfect as it was? It makes no sense at all.
So why are they here, and how did they come to be here? The same way we did. I don't know how anyone can say we're the only things that exist outside the construct. Because we're not. Anything that's in here, to me, is a representation of what's out there. Whether it was injected in, written in, whatever, inserted, hijacked. A long time ago came to a personal knowing that there is an aspect of myself on all of the dimensions. What were being described as dimensions and beyond it. I just didn't know what that meant by and beyond it. I had no language or concept or imagery or anything to explain that. And I think that's the case for everything that's in here, just about. There are things that we have created while in here, the things that we call thought forms that became life forms. But they're not the things that walk around next to you. That's my take on it. Susanna's asking again, why are they here? She wants your take on it, Donna. She just actually sort of said it, that a space, a playground, a construct was created that they weren't a part of. And they didn't like that. Is it naughty or cheating? Is suicide naughty or cheating? I think it's completely unnecessary, for one. And does it have an... I think everything changed back in 2011 in regards to that anyway. Because to me, the rinse and repeat cycle, whether you died of natural causes at 110 or whether you suicided, it didn't matter to me. As far as I could see, you were still put through the rinse and repeat cycle. You got to look at why it's illegal to take your own life, which is ridiculous. Why it's illegal to assist somebody in taking their own life. I don't know beyond that. I've never really felt into it. All I know is, for me, that the rinse and repeat cycle finished in 2011. What that means for those who have gone since, I think some have gone home. I think most are still in here, and we see them more and more and more and more and more in the form of orbs and energies that are around us. Sorry, what are you saying? Oh, no, it's the other Aaron.
Just whenever I contemplate things about inside the construct versus outside the construct, I find the video game analogy works fairly well to try and sort of wrap my mind around what beings may or may not be like. For example, I know that when I'm playing a video game, who my character is in the construct in the video game is much different than who I am outside of it. Also, I know that, you know, let's say there are people in this game that are logged into it, right, that are bullies and are totally taking things over and are totally screwing everybody. Yes, that might be their true nature outside of the hologram, but it also might be true that once we all log out, once we're all, you know, log out of our computers, that they very well may have very little to do with my actual life, you know, outside of it. So, I mean, while the Dracos, while yes, they may still be sinister, still maybe, I guess, evil, for lack of a better word, outside of the construct, just kind of keep in mind that there's a whole broad range of possible relationships to them. I mean, they may be a very little threat outside of the construct. I mean, and so I just like to sort of paint things in that video game sort of analogy, because I feel like it sort of helps to see that, you know, who we are.
Hang on, let me just say something for a sec. There are those who agree with you that outside the construct, they are very little fish in a very big pond. And they saw an opportunity to become the very, very, very big fish in a very little pond. And they took it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I feel like just the video game analogy definitely helps to see that. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, the typical playground bully. He just came into
Lisa, it's Harry.
Hey, Harry.
Hi. I've forgotten how to put my hand up. I just want to say something about what you've just been saying there and what people are asking, right? They came in here because they're hungry. Everything out there is hungry and it feeds on different things. And that's the reason why they're there. There's no good, there's no bad. Everything is hungry. It's just they feed different ways than what we do and all that. And everything in this universe feeds on something. We feed on love and happiness and all that. They feed on fear. And I've said this before, and that's the one reason why they were here, is so they can feed. Now they can't feed. They go hungry and they disappear and fade into nothing. That's it.
I'm just letting that one percolate for a minute. Yeah, I know.
If I might, just one last little snippet.
Uh-huh.
The one aspect that has become quite large in my mind in terms of what's going on here is the idea of addiction.
Yes.
One of the consequences of our playground is people get to really dive into addiction, and it becomes or has become and can become compelling and so grasping of the individual that there, in some cases apparently, no way out. In other words, the addictive quality of the power of the feeding of the desire for control, of being the big fish in the little pond, whatever the metaphor and the circumstance is, if it becomes addicting enough, well, anyone who's been addicted knows it's really, really, really difficult to let go of that because it's so enabling while you're in it, or at least seemingly so. And addiction is, I think, one of the key factors that heart source beings can intuitively and empathically understand as no, leave that alone. That's a trap. That's not going to get you where you want or need to be. But others that don't have that ability to detect that trap nature of addiction dive headlong into it and just swim around in there and just kind of have a good old time. And until they're told to stop or are limited or sequestered away or stopped somehow, they won't. It's just you can't. That's the nature of addiction. So just the last 2 cents.
Thank you. And Candace, you had your hand up too, Don.
Okay, cool. I got so into listening to everything that I forgot what I was going to say. Look, I'll just say one thing. I'm not sure if this resonates or not with people, but it may be helpful. In the past few days, I've really felt the need to review old ground to see if I'd missed any aspects of something that I thought that was sorted. And that can mean anything really, I guess. And I did uncover a few things that I'd felt were fully integrated, and as a result integrated more. But what I felt is that I needed to integrate the, say, 65% of it back then when I thought it was 100%. And doing the review made me realise that there was still another 20% of the full 100% integration of something that had happened. So, yeah, I suppose that ties into some of the places I was looking for answers for in the past, revisiting those sources and those materials, and not throwing out the baby with the bathwater, so to speak, with some of these individuals who I kind of had, admittedly, to tell you the truth. But after revisiting some material, I got some really big pings off going in and just revisiting some stuff. So yeah, that's all I really wanted to share on a completely different subject to what you were talking about. Hope that helps anyone if they are interested.
Yeah, I think as these memes and things come up in our lives that are coming back from 2013 onwards, there is something in there for us to integrate, reconcile, I don't know, complete in a more fulfilling way, cleaner way, something like that. There's something in it for each of us.
Absolutely, because yeah, at the time I wouldn't have been able to see some of the things I'm seeing now with having integrated the parts now over time. And it's funny you say 2013, because that was a really rich year for the information superhighway if you're on the quest for truth. Dun, 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 dun. Like, you know, it's like
coming at you from all directions.
Oh my gosh. And I mean, I sort of now am really appreciative of those individuals who came forward and were brave enough to talk about those invisible, seemingly invisible realms. You know what I mean? Like, I sure as shit would have felt very intimidated to come and go on YouTube and start chatting about all this stuff. And, you know, I feel like it's really important to just stand for a moment and appreciate these people that have come forward. And even though some have been co-opted along the way and lose their way, I feel like their original information that was coming through with this amazing intent behind it was something quite amazing. Otherwise it wouldn't have caught my eye. You know, and unfortunately, yeah, they do get, some of them do get co-opted, but every now and then I do like to visit them and listen to what they're saying, even though I know and am fully aware of the games, the mind control games and the emotional games and the physical games and the spiritual games that are played with these individuals to stop them from sharing so much truth. You can always find those lovely little bits of diamonds lying there for you to see if you want to see them, and that's through having gained knowledge of how this matrix works. And the more we know about the matrix, the more tools we have to understand it, the better resolve we have to ignore it. And so, you know, these discussions that we have on this show and in the members' calls that seemingly get quite meaty, it's good. It's like I love it because I find out more intricacies of the manipulation that I can then go, oh, okay, I notice you, and then sort of drop back into that place and reclaim what's mine. And I want to reclaim the word spiritual as well, like, because I do feel like it's a really great word. And it's been bastardized and inverted and smacked about. And for me, I'm choosing to reclaim it because I am a spiritual person and I'm not going to be afraid to say that anymore.
Woohoo!
Yeah. Take that, New Age. No, I'm not judgmental.
Nicely said. Go, Candace. Exactly. Thank you, love. I'm glad you... Even if you didn't remember what you were originally going to say. That was great. Okay, Earl, you've still got your hand up, doll.
Hi, yeah. So, I want to go back to last week, the 1896, because I believe going through this, what I've gone through, has awoken my spiritual gifts. Like, I've been feeling like I'm able to, like, I'm having visions now more easily, and where I can see and feel stuff more. So that has become a key that has unlocked that for me. And yes, the whole forgiveness thing is part of the program. I do believe that, because why should I forgive someone who has, hurt me? It's like, well, it's like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, it should be more or less the other way around. Like, I don't know, like, it just feels unnatural to me. Like, I don't know, just, I mean, now that
we also haven't been, I don't know, has anybody had a Draco walk up to her and say, I'm sorry?
I mean, exactly. Like,
I'm sorry. I apologize.
but I've been noticing something else that's kind of weird, because it goes back to the, like, I'm starting to see a lot more black and white video now coming in color. So there's something there that's going on that I don't understand, but it is something that's really weird. Oh, speaking also in 1896, that shouldn't have been around in 1896. In Europe, there's this place, I think it's in Holland or something like that. I can't remember where the place is. But there's a suspended monorail. So it's not like the track where
sorry, did you say a suspended monorail from 1896?
Yeah. A suspended monorail from 1896 that's suspended, not like riding on the track. And it's from someplace in Europe. I don't remember, but it's weird. I mean, I was like,
Earl, are you talking about the Fritz Lang movie Metropolis? Which
no.
Okay,
No.
because they suspended one of those in the movie, but that was all.
This is the footage of, and there's newer footage of people riding on these old cars and it is weird. Like, I'm looking in my mind, I'm like,
hang on, someone's put some info in about it too.
How did they get this all erected? Like, there were these cranes and all this shit. Like, I don't know, like, it is so weird. And
it's the oldest electric elevated railway with hanging cars in the world and is a unique system. It's the electric elevated railway suspension railway installation. I'm sure if there's a link, Tom will find it.
Well, we're under the false assumption here. We've been taught that everything before, let's say, the latter half of the 20th century, that they had absolutely no ability to construct things. That, I mean, electricity was around well before then. I mean, we have this perception that none of that was around, but it's not true. I mean, if you look at all the ancient buildings, I mean, there's footage of Market Street in San Francisco from a couple days before the big earthquake, and I think that was 1907, and it looks like the exact same street that it is now. The same buildings, same huge buildings, the same tracks, the railway, the same, they're using the same cars even on it. So, like railway cars, the trolleys. So, thinking that in the late 1800s that it was all horses and wooden carts is far, far from the truth of it. It's just the perception we've been fed.
Well said, Jenna. Still getting those two mixed up. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Just say G and J. G and J, and then
J and J and JJ. There's plenty of J's going around. We have to go for now. Thank you to everybody. We'll see you next week. Whatever that means. And keep a journal if you have to. Do something, but keep and share, obviously, your daytime and nighttime experiences. And things are just going to get funkier and funkier and weirder and weirder, and the time is just more and more distorted, and who knows where we'll be shortly. I don't know what else to say. I'll see you next week. Just stay sane. Bye for now.